Hello and good evening to everyone watching. This is Unfiltered live with me, myself, Civir and Sam alongside me. I thought rather than some repetitive news that we talk about quite a lot, whether that's to do with the manager or whatever the situation is that's ongoing, we could have a genuine conversation about Amad Diallo's performances and where we're at as fans, and what we believe is affecting his performances and everything else kind of surrounding it. Of course, it is a news show, though, so we are going to talk about other things as well. So Jim Ratcliffe publicly backing Ruben Amorim for the season. Would you believe it? Which I think United fans would be very interested in. Manchester United to go all out for Adam Wharton next summer. There's a gentleman's agreement in there for him to leave for around 60 to 65 million. Will United even have a chance if other clubs kind of come circling? Ollie Glasner would accept the Man United job 100%, according to a couple of journalists. He'd be up for it, if those are the words you want to use. And also Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund impressing in Europe. Just any United player who leaves the club seems to impress and do well for whatever reason. So we'll explore that as well. But we'll start with Amad Diallo first. But before we do that, lads, obviously it just kind of goes without saying the thoughts with everyone on this channel with the victims of today's events in North Manchester. I don't know if anyone's kind of seen what's happened, but regardless of whatever way you kind of look at it, I think it seems like more and more horrific situations. It's just becoming more common, which can't be great, and the world just kind of feels like it's spiraling out of control at the minute. So hopefully we can bring some form of kind of normality within the next 45 minutes. So let's try and do that, lads, and focus on football. Amad. Now, the reason I suggested this conversation, is because first and foremost, the first question I'll throw to you is, do we all agree that he has been underwhelming so far, or underperforming is probably a better word? Yeah? Or no?
Yeah. Based on last season's sort of performances, yeah, you could say he's not at his best at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say underwhelming, because there's a lot he's doing well.
Yeah,
it's just the difference. As last season, he was always just he was the difference maker. He got the goals, assists and stuff, but he's just not. There's a lot he's doing well. But I wouldn't say underwhelming. But yeah, I get the point you're making.
Yeah, Sam, would you agree? Just the initial point. Do you think he's been not underwhelming? I keep saying underwhelming. Do you think he's been below the level, let's just say, of what we expect from him?
Yeah, like there's been a couple of games where I've watched him and I've not been happy with performances or things that I've seen. And there's also been games where you'd expect him to have an impact and he hasn't. Obviously, we'll get into the reasons and possible theories why. But yeah, most of this season, I haven't seen the Amad that we saw last season, or even the sort of sporadic appearances the season before when we were all begging for him to sort of play games. And then even when he was at Sunderland, when he was absolutely lighting it on fire, like we haven't seen that this season.
Yeah. So from a statistical point of view, because I was looking at it before, I was like, it's not that much difference. And obviously it's a small sample size because we're only 5 games into the season. I think just based off Premier League games. So 0 goals and 0 assists so far for him. I know last season he had a goal and an assist in his first 5. But you have this sometimes with players where they just start a little bit slow. I think Harry Kane was like that a little bit. Like I think it was a record where he never really scored in August, did it? And then it kind of, once it got into September, and he got going. Similar thing with City as a team. They'd start really slow, and then we all know by the time it gets to November, December, they would just be like going.
Fergie was like that, but like as soon as you got towards the Christmas period, he'd take off and just then start destroying teams from then till like April.
And again, there's evidence to suggest this, because last season, November, December, we all remember his goal against Man City, for example, that he scored towards the end. Had loads of goals and assists against Ipswich and these kind of teams. So it could just be a case of, he's just having a bit of a slow start to the season, but we know other things are ongoing around him as well, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But Civir, something seems off. Do you agree? When you watch his performances, and do you think it's a positional thing? Do you think it's something to do with the system? Or, is it more kind of exterior things at play here?
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few things that have resulted in his performances, but I think the number one reason is that he's human. And that's what happens. Like, We've seen that happen to a lot of players. I remember when Wayne Rooney would go on like droughts. Van Nistelrooy had a drought. I mean, everyone did. So I understand people's concern, but I would just appeal to fans to just calm down a little bit. It's been 5 games. It's a different, obviously the situation in Manchester United is not ideal at the moment. Like with the negativity around, it's bound to affect people. Like, if the working environment isn't, conducive enough, it would lead on to some of the players. Let's not forget that we've got new players in. So when earlier on when you asked me and I said that he was doing some things right. So if you notice, like his pressing is really good. I remember that. Who was it against? Was it Burnley or
Everton?
Chelsea?
Where he won it off him, pinched it off him and scored.
No, yeah. So recently one of the last few games.
You're talking about
this season, yeah. So he wins the ball back. He presses, wins the ball back, and he could have squared it to Sesko, but his head was down.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look up. Yeah, he could have squared it to Sesko, and that would have been a goal. So things like his pressing, his energy, I'm not seeing any drop off in like his desire or anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that's happening now, from what I'm seeing, it's just the decision making. You've got new players in, so it's a different dynamic. They're still getting to know each other, sort of thing. And then he played on the left-hand side. He's played on wing-back position, which a lot of us like him in, but he was very effective as the right 10 last season. So that could also be a thing. I don't know what the problem is, but I know that the quality is there. And I think all we need to do is just have a little bit of patience. He just needs a goal or an assist or just one good game, one half of 45 minutes he comes off. That's all he needs. Sometimes these players just thrive of confidence, of good moods, good vibes, whatever it is. But I understand fans, being a little concerned, but I don't think it's that much of a big deal. And we have to remember that these players are very aware of what's being said of them online. So we have to be careful. That could also affect him as well. Like the more this thing grows, he's young, man. Like he's young. He's from he's from your generation. So, even
younger than me.
He's from the younger generation now.
Yeah.
And this is no slight on them, but they take things a little bit more personal now. There's a lot more emotions involved and stuff like that. So we need to, we're fans and we're supporters, and sometimes we need to support our players. We can't just be fans and just slating them when they're good and then praise. We need to support them in dark times, and I think that's what we need to do now, to be honest. But yeah, as far as what's wrong, it could be a myriad of things. So.
From a positional sense, Sam, one of the conversations surrounding Man United is Bryan Mbeumo being in that position. Now, obviously, Bryan Mbeumo was a phenomenal player, and I would never say no to someone like that. But when you look at the priorities, when you look at how the midfield and even the defences at the minute and the goalkeeper and these kind of things, did we need to buy someone like Mbeumo when you have someone like Amad Diallo?
I think a lot has been made of like spending 200 million on an attack. Now, obviously, we needed goals because we didn't score enough. But I think spending that amount of money and not addressing a midfield was a massive, massive issue. And I think had you addressed that midfield issue, a lot of these issues might have fixed themselves, like if you solve that thing. And also with the system that we've spoken about, and I don't want to get into too much, but with this Amorim system, it relies on really good wing backs and a great midfield, neither of which we invested in the summer. I know we bought Dorgu in January, but he's young, he's raw, he's not had a full season at United yet. So are we really expecting him to bail us out? And it just seems like that's our outlet every time we play out. It's towards Dorgu, which is an issue. And I think, we didn't invest in a right wing back. We didn't invest in a midfielder. We spent 200 million on the attack thinking that would solve the issues. And I think it's affecting a lot of people. Like Chivy said, a lot of new players. So that whole attack line is completely brand new. Sesko, Mbeumo, Cunha, and then whoever else you slot in there. Say you put Amad in there, say you put Bruno. It's all brand new. No one knows each other. So that doesn't help. He's then been shifted about, like Chivy said, to left 10, to right wing back, to forward. Like he's been all over the place, which doesn't help. Like if you want to develop partnerships and chemistry, you need to play people in positions and like play them repeatedly there. So if
is that not on the manager though, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. Like he needs to if you want to develop that partnership between Bumo and Ahmad, then they need to play together.
Yeah.
Constantly. And he's not done that because he's dropped Ahmad, he's brought Dallo in, he's put Mazraoui there, he's Cunha's been out injured, and then Mount's like, there's just been all these different changes, some of them by the manager, some of them injuries. And it just doesn't help matters. He doesn't develop chemistry, it doesn't develop partnerships. I know he suffered a family death. He was off and stuff like that. Maybe that was playing on his mind over the last couple of weeks. It might have been an ongoing thing or something that might have been on his mind or something that can affect players. Like Chivy says all the time, they're human beings. Like that stuff affects you. And then the whole Garnacho thing, social media shit, where he was getting a pelters for that photo, and then he deleted his social media and stuff. I'm sure, like, if he's deleted his social media, obviously it's had an effect on him. So that could definitely take a dent in someone's confidence as well. So there's a lot of myriad of factors. The moving about positionally definitely doesn't help, but I think those outside factors that definitely need to be taken into consideration.
I think sometimes as well, the facts you mention, or at least the theme of the conversation is human. With these new signings coming in, like Ahmad was looked at last season as the guy, like he's gonna do something, or Bruno's gonna. They were the two people who were gonna do something. Sometimes that can put them by the wayside a little bit when you bring in Cunha and then Bumo and Šeško and you spend so much on the attack. And they should be professionals, I'm not saying that, but you can look at that and be like, I've been pushed to wing back to accommodate for this new signing. Bruno Fernandes, the same thing. I've been pushed back into midfield to accommodate for this signing with the numbers that I've been putting up over the last couple of seasons. Like, what's the coach doing? And we know there's been reports of Bruno being unhappy playing in that deeper role. Obviously, he's going to do it because he's a paid footballer and he's a professional. But could that maybe have something to do with it?
It happened to Cavani, didn't it? You remember when Ronaldo came in and he took Cavani's number. Obviously, he's now starting when Cavani was getting most of the sort of stuff. Cavani's nose was put out of joint. He might have said, "Oh no, it's fine" and stuff like that, but you could tell like he wasn't happy with it. And then you remember he used to go out to Uruguay and take his time coming back from international games and stuff like that. He was clearly annoyed by it. Like you got to think he was. So it's not unheard of, is it, for that thing to happen?
Yeah, that's a similar thing that happened to Cavani at PSG with Ibrahimovic as well. When he was there, and then they brought Ibra in and stuff. Yeah, possibly. But Ahmad played wing back a few times last season. He was brilliant at it, And I feel like footballers like players that they can play with. And I think him and Mbeumo, I would like to imagine that they would strike up some sort of partnership. And the wing back role is a very attacking role as well, and it's suited to his qualities and what he excels at. So I don't think that's. Personally, I wouldn't think that that's like a big issue with Ahmad. I just think that there could be a lot of things, but we can only just judge from what we're seeing from the outside. But I think there's a lot more personal stuff that could be at play. But it's only just and one more thing is Ahmad is a confidence player. Like when he went to Sunderland, and they made him. Once some players just want someone to believe in. They just want that constant reassurance that, and he kind of built off that in Sunderland. And last season when he was playing, when he was our main man, he always stepped up. So it could be a change in dynamic now with, like you said, Nick, new players coming in. Maybe, it's possible that, he's not the main guy, but he seems like a really nice person, like a good person, like he's very jovial. I don't think that would really be a big issue, if anything. But
The question I keep falling back to is: Are we putting the players in the best positions? And although I do like Amad Diallo at wing back, I like there's more attacking emphasis on Brian and Mbeumo to do something, to get a goal or to get an assist. I'm not seeing Ahmad in the box enough. I'm not seeing Ahmad 1v1 enough, which you saw quite a lot in the Europa League under Ten Hag. Like these kind of patterns, and maybe it will take a little bit of time to kind of work with Brian and Mbeumo and get that going. And if it does, it could be deadly, because them two in peak form together is a problem.
It's insane. It's insane, yeah. But we've seen him in attacking positions this season. A lot of what the problem is, and not just with him, but with the front line, it's just decisions have been terrible. Like we've made some really, really terrible decisions, and he's part of it as well. He's made
final ball, isn't it? Always the
just
final
that
ball.
final pass is always the wrong one, always, and it's really, really frustrating. And I feel like if we just get one or two, like we just need one game where we can just build on, like a proper win routine. And I think that would sort of like build confidence, coming back in. And I have a lot of belief in Ahmad at wing back. We saw how Giovanni Quenda was for Sporting Lisbon, and I feel that he can. He was really important for that role. And I feel that Ahmad, excels in this role at wing back. I'm very happy with him there. I feel that he can put in some really, really good performances because you've got a handful there of Ahmad and Mbeumo to deal with. And once that clicks, once that relationship forms, I think they could be a really deadly duo.
It's interesting, isn't it? Especially with the Sunderland game on the horizon. I'm going to get into Reggie Lebrie's comments on Ahmad, who's obviously the Sunderland boss. But before I do that, let me just dive into the comments because it's quite a few. If you are just joining us, get your thoughts and feelings in on Amad Diallo, what you've made of his performances, and do you see it coming good over the next couple of weeks? Happy Life saying Ahmad is a young player. He's got a lot. He's got a lot to learn in the game, so I'm not worried. Every player has a drop-off period in their career, so it's just normal. Someone in that club decided to not get a midfielder, and now Amorim is paying the price for it. Katungi saying Ahmad is not the strongest, can struggle against aggressive fullbacks or centre-backs, needs to keep improving his core strength. However, he's excellent in tight spaces and one of the most technically secure. I definitely agree with that, with the last part. King Charlotte says the midfield issue was so obvious. Cunha or Mbeumo was fine. Both was silly. I was saying that in summer. Højlund, Bruno, Cunha or Mbeumo with a stronger midfield pairing would see us do well. And Katungi is saying Ahmad is not the strongest. Can struggle. Oh, sorry, I've already read that out. So the same comment there. Yeah, I think you all make some very, very interesting, valid points there. I think priority-wise, I don't know. I think they could have maybe tweaked a couple of things in the summer, but maybe, I don't know. Brian Mbeumo was available. You've seen how good he's been. It's like, can you turn down a move like that? I'm not entirely sure.
Did we need Sesko, Mbeumo, and Cunha? Did we need all three?
It's interesting.
Could we not, like 62 million on Cunha? What was it? Ended up being 60 million on Mbeumo?
70.
70. And then
guys,
whether...
we can't do this. We can't say that now. Like
I'm just saying.
We all cheered for it.
No, but I'm just because we all cheered it because we thought we were getting a midfielder and we didn't. So I'm just saying, if that was the case, if they were never going to get a midfielder, because they went for Baliba, but in all reality, you're not going to get him for less than 100 million. Like, so it was just stupid for them to try and like put that out as like, oh, we're getting Baliba. So in my thing, if you knew you didn't have the money to get the midfielder, why spend extra on the attack when we could have used some of the money for the midfield? That's kind of my thinking, because it was clearly a big
I think the main thing is probably just not getting a backup signing. But I don't think it was stupid to go for Baliba because it was ambitious. I thought it was ambitious, and I feel like they felt that they had a chance and they had to take that chance at Baliba. From reports, we know that he was very interested in the move, but to agree with you, Sam, Brighton was always going to be difficult with that move.
Yeah.
So I don't think we could have said, "Oh, we're 100% going to get him." And they could have
I
made,
don't respect that. I just think surely United knew. United knew he's going to cost a shit ton of money. Surely they knew that. Yeah.
The signing that I thought was unnecessary, to be honest, was Sesko. I was never really on board with it, just for the profile that we had, and I would have rather gotten a midfielder instead of that. But
so who would you play there?
Xerxes, bro. Xerxes is the player that we need to play in that position.
But Amorim clearly doesn't rate him.
Well, I'm just saying from the way I
personally.
Yeah, like I was saying to you guys the other time, you don't always need a superstar in every position. Sometimes you need a player that brings out the best in other players. A balanced player like João Pedro, like it doesn't have to be a sexy name. What's the guy at Tottenham? I know
you had Firmino. You had
those kind of players that bring balance, that allow other players. You think if they look what's going to happen to Liverpool now, like with Sesko, with Isak and Wirtz, and that's going to affect Salah's performances 100%. Like you need players to
it already is.
Yeah,
Like,
you need some players. Yeah, you need some players to allow other players. And Xerxes is a sort of player that the ball sticks to him. He loves to play around other players. He loves to play with players, and you can tell that players like playing with him because they kind of just have that connection. And that's what you need, because what you have with the front three now is everyone's new. Everyone wants to make a mark. Everyone's going to try and take the shot. No one's really going to be, they would think of scoring first before thinking of the other player around them. We've seen that with Cunha. We've seen that with Sesko already. So it's like, you don't need that. And just wait and see. I'm telling you guys, this is exactly what I said last season with Xerxes and Højlund. The time will come when Xerxes steps up, when we see that it doesn't work with Sesko. You replace Xerxes and you see what happens with everyone around him. So this is what we need to do. It's not just about having a number 9 to just score all the goals. You have to play someone that allows everyone else, that brings the best out of players. We're never going to see the best out of Mbeumo and Cunha with Sesko in there. I promise you this. We won't see the best of them.
I agree with you in the sentiment of him connecting with players. I think it looked much more fluid. But at the same time, he doesn't get nowhere near enough goals or assists for a striker. Nowhere near. Even Firmino at Liverpool, when he was playing alongside Salah and Mane would always get like the majority of the goals, or more goals, should I say. But Firmino was still chipping in with 15 goals. 17 goals.
Yeah, but we haven't seen them play in a proper system. Like, we haven't seen... Xerxes is still... Xerxes is still...
Zesco. It's a combination of them both.
Yeah, we bought him as potential. And it's the sort of player that, it's hard for us to judge him on playing on that, shit Ten Hag team, a shit Amorim team. Yeah. Like, we don't know what it's really, really difficult to judge him on that. And as far as goals and assists, I've said this before, and I'll stand by this, and I'm more than happy to be corrected, but we will not see 10 goals from Sesko.
I'll place a bet on that.
Yeah, we won't see 10 goals in this system unless he changes. But playing like this, we're not seeing 10 goals from Benjamin Sesko.
We'll see. Just to take it back to Amad Diallo, obviously we play Sunderland this weekend, Sam, and the manager of Sunderland, Reggie Lebris, has been speaking about his time at the club and saying his spell here was really important. The coaching staff like him as a person and as a player. Now he's in the opponents. He plays with the opposition, so it'd be great to say hello, but during the game he won't be a friend. And it just got me thinking, that loan spell, it can show, can't it, when you have a player, how important one move can be, because we saw it with Jimmy Garner with Forest. Although it might not have worked out at United long term, it's still,
don't upset Chivy. Don't upset.
I know.
Chivy.
It developed him into a Premier League player. And we saw Ahmad go off to Rangers and struggled there really, really badly, but then just absolutely lit it up at
Jesse Lingard at West Ham, that period, he was absolutely, he was phenomenal. And why did we not sell him? Such a stupid move that from us. Like, should have sold him.
But how important was that to his career, that move to Sunderland, in your opinion?
No, absolutely. Like, it showed the player that we all thought and we all hoped he was. Because obviously, like you said, that Rangers move, we expecting stuff, and it didn't really go well. And it's just like, is this kid that what we think he will be? And then at Sunderland, he showed it. Like, he showed everything. And then once he came back, all of us on the channel were saying he needs to play. Like, Anthony was just shitting the bed and just not doing well. And we're like, why is he not playing him? Why is he not playing him? And then the few minutes that he did get under Ten Hag, he like would pop up and he'd get you off your feet and cause something, or start a move, or like cause some chaos in the box. And you're like, this kid has to play. He has to play. And then last season, obviously on fire. We had the Liverpool game, the City game, all that sort of stuff. It's like, he's actually as good as we thought he was. Obviously, he's having a tough start this season, but obviously Sunderland, definitely got to thank them for that. We've got a Sunderland fan on tomorrow, so make sure you guys come and check the preview out. We'll definitely ask him about Ahmad and his time there. But from people I know who are Sunderland fans, like, they loved him. Like, they absolutely adored him. Like, how much he sort of impacted their team, pushed them all the way to... Did they get to the final of the playoffs and lost in the final? Or did they get to the semis?
It was either the semis against Luton, I think.
Yeah, and he was a big part of that. He was a big part of that, getting them like almost to the Premier League.
Was this manager the manager that had...
No, different man. It was Tony Mowbray, I think. Yeah.
The one
So yeah, he was a big part of that. So I know a lot of Sunderland fans like still love him. When he at the Sunderland game as well the other week, he went to watch him, Ahmad. He was in the crowd.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he clearly has an affection for the club. Clearly still really enjoyed his time there and his experience. So, yeah, it did him the world of good.
I think he'll get a good reception from the travelling fans when they come to Old Trafford. But yeah, I mean, even the Rangers one, people might look at that as if it was a failure, but I suppose sometimes you can learn more from failures as a player when it doesn't work out at a club like that. Because obviously Rangers is a huge club, but at the time there was a bit of instability. I think Gerrard was there, maybe.
Yeah, he had a few moments there. He had a few moments.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah.
He got fired, didn't he, during that season, Gerrard? I think.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of instability, but he's come good and hopefully can kick on for the rest of the season. I want to move it on. There was Laurie Whitwell's just recorded a show. We were talking the Devils, and he was talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and apparently that he wants to give Ruben Amorim the full season, even if he loses to Sunderland. He doesn't believe it'll be the end of his time at the club, which means there is a consistent belief in the coach, although fans seem to have lost that belief. Is this, Chivy, at this point, blind faith or genuine belief? Are they looking at something we're not seeing? What can they sample from that? How can they look at the statistics and come to the conclusion that no, he deserves until the end of the season?
I don't believe him. Not Laurie. not Laurie Whitwell. I don't believe
Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to talk about, a City manager and say, we might. No, there's no way. Absolutely not. They probably have made their decision, whatever it is. They might be agreeing to stick with him, or whatever decision they have, there's no way they're going to let that slip to say, we're going to sack him. There's no way. I don't believe them. There's a lot riding on this season, a whole lot. And I don't think Ratcliffe or Ineos are the type that are just going to dilly-dally. The only reason I think they leave him in the job is because relegation is a reality, guys. It is a reality. So if it looks like we're going to be safe, they might keep him, and they might keep him in the just because they've identified. The reason why they will keep him is if we haven't identified a suitable replacement. That's the only reason. We saw how, Dan Ashworth, we paid all that money for him and then we got rid of him immediately as quick as possible. I don't think Jim Ratcliffe is going to hang around. I don't think Ineos are going to hang around and let this guy drag this club to the levels that, we all fear that it's going to get, because we need the money. We need to attract players. This season cannot be a failure under any circumstances. We need to at least get Conference League or something. And if it carries on this way, there's absolutely no way in hell. This guy's a billionaire. Billionaires are assholes, man. They're not going to, he's not going to stand for nothing. Underperforming, they hate underperforming people. That is not going to happen. So Laurie Whitwell might be correct. I'm sure he's correct. His sources, he has really good sources. He's a respectable journalist. I don't believe Jim Ratcliffe would think anything.
Well, it's interesting because reaction to this, Sam, we had Sammy Mockbell from the BBC report, and multiple sources have told BBC Sport that Oliver Glasner would be on a list of candidates to replace Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. Old Trafford insiders insist they remain in support of Amorim and no candidate shortlist have been compiled. And Ben Jacobs also reported as well that Glasner would leave Crystal Palace if he received an offer to become the manager, even mid-season. What's the overall feeling at the minute, the gut feeling from you personally? Do you think, are you like Chivy? Do you kind of think Ratcliffe and Ineos are almost lying a little bit just to kind of save face and then do something during the international break?
This is what owners do. There's always a thing of 100% back the manager, and then next week he could be gone. It's the way the world football is. It's brutal at times, but that's how it is. Because it's about results. And there's no way, like Chivy said, they are going to allow us to slip into a relegation battle and just allow him to stay at the helm. Imagine a captain of a ship and the helmsman is just driving it into an iceberg. He's not just going to allow him to do it. He's going to take him off the wheel and put somebody else there. It's just not going to happen, especially when it's your boat and you've put all the money in the boat and you built it and stuff. You're not going to allow it to happen. So, yeah. If there's any indication that this form isn't recoverable or European places are completely out of reach, he'll change the manager. Like it'll happen. And I also think we spoke on that payoff multiple times as well. That payoff is a massive factor as well. Like that's a huge factor.
Yeah, it's a business, and you cannot be underperforming with the amount of money that you're being paid. Whether you're a manager, whether you're
and the money you spent as well on players.
Yeah, any position in the business, if you're underperforming and you're being overpaid, you're going, man. Like there's no job assurance in being the manager of Manchester United at all.
Maybe I'm naive. I think the opposite. I think they will stick with him. I think they will look at previous years, and I think, although I know I'm not disagreeing with anything that's being said around the manager results or anything like that. I think they're looking at previous things and they're going, we keep getting rid of managers and then churning this out. I think they are going to try and drive through this kind of foggy mist until they get to a point where, obviously, at some point it might become unattainable where you are bottom of the league, you lose 5 in a row, and that'll just make a decision for you. But my internal gut instinct, and it's not based off anything at all, I just feel like they're going to stick with him, even past the Liverpool game. What
would he have to do, in your eyes, for them to sack him?
I mean, I'd get rid of him anyway, personally.
No, but if you're thinking Ineos are going to stay with it and stuff, what would he have to do for you, in your eyes, for Ineos to go, nah, you're done?
I think right at the bottom, where you're like,
at what point in the season?
With the
if we're 15th in first week of January, do you think?
Yeah,
I think we'll keep it.
I think no. I think they'll get.
What if we're like what if we're like 11th, 12th in January? You think they keep him?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
If we're mid-table,
I can see that.
I think
if we're like 11th to 12th. And we can kind of, because there'll be a hope that we can sneak in.
And they'll be looking at January as well as a thing and being like,
I think they might risk keeping him. He'll be gone in the summer if we're like, 11th to 12th. Yeah. But I think they might risk keeping him just to get the right appointment in. But if it starts to affect like the stock market and sales and all that, I mean, we're burning through that credit facility. Like,
who said that now? Was it Richard Arnold at the pub?
Yeah.
Remember? We're burning cash.
We're fucking burning through cash.
Yeah.
That's what I said, yeah. So, it's one of them ones, man. I think once it gets to a financial, sort of place where we just have to pull the trigger, then I think we will.
Yeah. Whilst we're on the conversation of Crystal Palace, you're actually playing in Europe at the minute, 1-0 up through Daniel Munoz.
I need to watch that.
Yeah. Adam Wharton, lads. Ben Jacobs speaking, saying he's told that there's some kind of gentleman's agreement next summer. If Adam Wharton doesn't sign a new deal, he can leave for somewhere in the region of 60 to 65 million pound. But Sam, will we even get a sniff if we don't have European football, given his quality and how much interest it would be?
Probably not without European football, I'd imagine, unless he's a massive United fan. And he turns down suitors like Mbumo did and Cunha did, like, unless he's that kind of United fan. I don't know anything about him, so I'm not sure. Crystal Palace won their first trophy last year, first one ever. They're in Europe. They rightly should be in Europa League, not Europa Conference. If it weren't for this bullshit rule deadline thing that they had, like, they should be in the Europa League by all rights. But he's in Europe now, so he's going to want to continue that as a player whose profile is rising. He's obviously, hopefully, going to be a big part of the England team in the World Cup. I know he got taken last time, but didn't play a minute. Did he play a minute? I can't.
Yeah, I think he might have got on for 5 or 10, but it wasn't much.
Yeah. So hopefully he's a bigger part of the England team this year. Next year. So yeah, he wants to step up, obviously. But if United are not in Europe, I don't see him coming. I like him as a player. I think he's a really good player. Like I've said many times, he is the most Spanish midfielder who isn't Spanish I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, he's phenomenally technical.
What a Dama.
His passing is on point. His vision is really good.
Yeah.
His injury record is a little bit worrying. He has picked up quite a few injuries over the last couple of things. I'm hoping that's just a youth thing, and as he gets older, he sort of grows out of it. But yeah, I like him a lot as a player. But United have to be in a position to be able to compete with. Are Liverpool going to be looking at a midfielder? Are City going to be looking? Because obviously Bernardo Silva's leaving. He might be leaving at the end of his contract. Rodri's not very reliable with his injuries. Are City going to be looking for a midfielder? There's going to be a lot of teams who are out for a player like that. So yeah, United have to be in Europe to compete, in my opinion.
Crystal Palace third in the league at the minute as well, still unbeaten. 3 wins, 3 draws, just beat Liverpool. Maybe he wants to stay, Chivy, Crystal Palace rather than joining United, given their form at the minute.
Yeah, that'll be a downgrade. If he leaves Palace and comes to United, like proper downgrade. I think the only way we get him is if we get his manager. That's the only way. If we don't get Europe and we manage to get his manager, that's the only possibility of luring him to Old Trafford.
Interesting.
I'm actually quite, when you thinking back at it now, and I'm actually quite relieved that we didn't get Baleba. Because I'm actually quite relieved that we didn't get Baleba, because who are you going to pair him with? I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, if you pair him with Bruno, like, literally have no defense. Literally, like, because if he's going to have the qualities of carrying the ball, once we lose the ball, we've seen what happens. We lose the ball in attack, we're wide open. So I think the system would be better with someone like Wharton. Now, I haven't watched Crystal Palace a whole lot. I've seen like Wharton's highlights, and I love his qualities. He doesn't hang on to the ball like for ages. Give and go, and his awareness and all that. That's the kind of midfielder we need, like a calm influence on, spot the runs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
I think he has one of the highest statistics as well for through balls and breaking the lines and direct passes and all those kind of things, which you absolutely need in an Amorim system as well. So yeah, I mean, I'd definitely take a look. The words that keep getting mentioned, or players that keep getting mentioned, is a Baleba and Wharton partnership. And that wouldn't surprise me at all, given the money that was spent on the attack. I mean, they spent 200 million just gone. Why wouldn't they spend, 160 million on the midfield or whatever?
That'd be a great, in this Amorim system, that'd be a fantastic upgrade. And then if that's what they're planning, I can see Bruno going to Saudi next summer.
Yeah. Well, if you get the money, why wouldn't you? It's just
that's what I'm saying.
Really.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see them. Look, Bruno, he's not like, he doesn't work in this 8.
Yeah. They've
just spent Mbumo and Cunha as your 10s.
Yeah.
Are you going to push one of them out for Bruno and then say, like you said, you need the money for this midfield upgrade? I can see him go to Saudi, goes out there, earns an absolute shit ton, retires, and then, good night Vienna for Bruno.
Yeah. Ideally, we'd have another manager in. Ideally,
I knew you were going to say that then.
Them 2 players, If we have another manager with them 2 players, I'll be happy, bro. Anything with this guy, I don't trust this guy with any midfielder.
That's fair. Right, back into the comments, and then lastly we'll discuss Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford. Tim99 saying we need to develop some good partnerships, doesn't help with the changes. Happy Life saying every player is a risk, you don't always get the next superstar player. I don't see the owners getting rid of Amorim halfway through the season. This happened to Ten Hag and Amorim came in. Look how that went. I think it's a fair point. I think we need to temper the expectations and hype we put on the youngsters at Man United. It's a turmoil time and we're looking for saviours. They need good developing and are long ways off a finish line.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Very rational and sensible people in the chat, which is always nice to see. Please do leave a like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel as we get into the last story of the day. And really, it was just a general kind of overview of the players that have gone out on loan or we've technically sold with an obligation, whatever you want to call it. Rasmus Højlund, lads, last night for Napoli, as I'm sure you've seen, and KDB linking up, which if you would have said last season, Højlund and De Bruyne will be combining in a European game for Napoli, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they were. Højlund looked pretty decent, running into channels, which is his strengths, which we've never really seen with Man United. Marcus Rashford has been doing pretty well. I watched the Barcelona game last night. The assist. The assist was insane. He looks bright. He's scored the goals against Newcastle as well in the Champions League. Like, he's holding his own. I know when Rafinha comes back, he'll end up starting and he'll be kind of by the wayside or whatever you want to call it. But what have you made of both of their performances? And is it a surprise at all, actually, that they're performing well?
No. Sam, remember you...
I love that answer. Just no.
Sam, remember you and I were saying this last season, right? Because who was it that went on loan last season and was performing? McTominay.
Yeah.
When McTominay left. And then we're saying to everyone else, I was like, if you think McTominay is performing now, wait till Hoyland leaves, and then you see what will happen. Like, and I clashed with a few of you guys. I've clashed with you guys a couple of times on this topic. When I say it's not the players, it's the manager. It's the system that we play that doesn't bring the best out of these guys, because we play them in systems that don't play to their strengths. Hoyland is not a back to defender sort of striker to hold the ball up, but he runs through channels, and we never really saw that in this new style of play. We saw that in the first season under Ten Hag, and he was brilliant. The first time he played under Ten Hag. But like, I'm not surprised, because football is not complicated. It's really not complicated. There's a lot of expression involved. You overcomplicate things like how Ten Hag and Amorim were doing. You're going to stifle these players. And I think Garnacho as well. I think once he settles in at Chelsea, I think
he got an assist the other night as well.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot from. Yeah,
it wasn't really an assist though, was it? Like,
well, if he doesn't put that ball in, they don't score.
I know, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, so just to answer your question, Nick, I'm not surprised, and I think we're going to see a lot more really good performances from them. And yeah, it's just one of those. It's like the argument I'm having with Nick about Sesko. Like, he's a very good player, but the way he's being played now, it's not going to work. And then when he leaves, or if he leaves and goes, or if we change and start playing to his terms,
I'd love someone to ask Hoyland if he was told to do what he was doing the other season, where he's fighting defenders and he's backing into him, or he chose to do that. Because I don't know if anybody's asked him. Because if you're the player and you know you're not good at that, why would you choose to do that? So in my head, manager must have told him to do this.
Yeah, it's clearly
why would you do
manager.
it? Like, you must be like, I'm not good at this. Like, the reason, like, when Nick did a breakdown of Hoyland, the whole breakdown was about him getting into channels, balls in behind, like through passes, get on the end of it, because his pace is electric and his finishing was quite decent. That was what he's good at. And then last season, saw none of that. He was just fucking doing this with centre backs the whole time. And I'm like, has he been asked to do that? Or is he choosing to do that? Because if he's choosing to do that, he's an idiot. And he's being asked to do that, the manager's an idiot. Because that's just not what his strength is.
Well, I just look at Victor Gyökeres at Sporting and the way Amorim used him, if you want kind of a sample of what he wants from a striker. And I think Gyökeres in his own rights as well, which you've seen a little bit at Arsenal, he is more of a transitional player. Like, he plays in the channels, he does drift out wide and these kind of things, and runs onto the ball. He's better doing that. I mean, he can play with his back to goal, but he's better going forward. And I think both things can be true at the same time, where it's like, well, Amorim's come in mid-season. The only striker he had, really, out-and-out striker, was Hoyland. So what else do you want him to do? Change the whole system because the striker isn't working? You know? It's tricky.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the striker that wasn't working. It was everything else that was working that wasn't working. So, like, you could have played the system that favored everyone's strengths. And what's even crazy about this whole thing is that we're actually even playing better now than we played last season. And I think Hoyland would have been actually a little bit more decent now than he was last season, because we're different. We're not there yet, but we're playing a lot better now this season. And maybe we could have just taken a chance and just kept him for one more season. But,
yeah. That dust is settled, isn't it? An obligation. If they get Champions League football, they might even win the Champions League the way they're playing at the minute. Yeah. So I'm sure Rasmus will go. Same question for Rashford, really, Sam, just to finish on. Again, have you been surprised by how well he's done at Barcelona? Do you think they'll take that £30 million price tag that's there?
I mean, it seems like it. He's doing well. Like, what has he got? Like 5 goals or assists in the last 6 games or something. I think that's something like his record. So he's doing well. He doesn't look back to his absolute best, where he was just destroying people, but he's making those runs. He's running at defenders. Yep. He's causing chaos, and he's doing those things that we know he's good at. And when fullbacks face up against him, they're terrified. Yeah. So the more he does that, the more confidence he gains. Like Chivy says, Rashford's 100% a confidence player. When things are going well for him, he's unstoppable. When things go wrong, he's not. He hides and he's not good, and he loses his instinct and he overthinks things. When things are going well, he's smashing it. And Barcelona, the way they play, plays right into his strength. constant high line, just playing on the front foot, going forward at every opportunity. That's what he's about. He's not expected to track back that much because the defensive line's on the halfway line most of the time. I don't know that I was watching that game. It was a 2-1 game, but honestly, it was like a basketball game. It was just
like, do you remember
non-stop.
Ange against Chelsea?
Yeah. Just not. It's ridiculous.
It was
it's
mad.
Fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, why are PSG just not knocking the ball over the top every time? Because it was insane how ridiculous that game was. But anyway, yeah, he looks really, really good, and I'm happy for him, man. I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad it's working out for him. If he carries on the way he's going, they probably will take it up, and they probably will buy him because he wants to be there. They obviously want him. He's not going to work in the system if Amram's still here. He's obviously don't fit in the system anywhere. So unless another manager comes in, he wants to use wingers, maybe he can come back. But yeah, at this moment in time, Barcelona is probably the best place for him.
With Rashford, I'll just say, just give it a few weeks with Marcus Rashford. Like he's he's like a purple patch player. Like he's one of them ones where just give it some time and let's see what happens. Like I'm really, really happy for him, and I hope we can get the full amount for Marcus Rashford. Also, somehow I just feel like he has unfinished business at United, but who knows?
Listen,
but yeah, I'm happy. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, is anything out of the north, like anything could happen at this club, innit? We've seen so many things like change, and Marcus Rashford being at this football club would not surprise me in the slightest with a new manager. It really wouldn't.
It looked like Jadon Sancho was going to still be here, didn't it? Up until the last minute, like it looked like he wasn't going anywhere. So anything can happen.
Let's see what's in store, people. If you have enjoyed the show, please leave a like on the video for us. Subscribe to the channel. Help us reach 30,000. Help us reach 10,000 on Instagram as well. We just hit 8K over on there. So to get your usual news fix and transfer fix and everything going on around the club, that is the one place to be, as well as X. And for clips from the show, just for clips in general, some tactical analysis and things, drop us a follow on TikTok. You get those kind of clips over on there. Appreciate Sam and Chivy. Keep an eye out,
Nick.
I was about to say.
Oh, you about to say? Sorry.
Yeah. Tomorrow you're on about the preview. Yeah. Keep an eye out for the preview tomorrow. European football expert, Sunderland fan. You could probably guess who it's going to be. Yeah. Really, really good football mind. So I'm interested to speak to him about that. We'll have the preview for that, and also we'll have some. I'm forgetting the name of it. The show that I've been doing recently, the Premier League battles with a couple of my mates, which is kind of a bit of a sideshow, but that'll be done over the weekend as well. So keep an eye out for that drop. And then Saturday, I'm thinking about doing a watch long for the actual Sunderland game, which I haven't done a watch long in ages. So if you want to come and join me for that, then please do. And breathe. Cheers, lads. We'll see you in the next one.